doggies. Well, we can start with the first slide because I don't need my binder to talk about that. So we had a lot of events this weekend. We had an event Friday night. Woo! And so there's some of us that were here all weekend. That was Rose. So we had an event Friday, and Melinda, we had an event Friday night. We had an event almost all day yesterday, and we're here today. So sometimes, thank you so much, Prim Dia, I can totally relate to this. So I socialized this weekend, and that's going to be me for the next 3 months, right? For sure, because I tell you what, I am as much of an introvert as I'm an extrovert, if you can believe that. So I'm able to be an extrovert, and I'm able to be on and high energy and optimistic and enthusiastic because I get the other time. And when I don't get the other time, I feel it. Do you all feel it? So I needed that dance just as much as you all probably needed that dance this morning. So let's go to the next slide, please. So, we're culminating our month of freedom, and we've covered a lot of really good, juicy stuff this month. So I'm not sure if this applies to you or not, but nothing makes sense. And he's like, it does, doesn't it? Because that's a good thing, right? Nothing makes sense. And it does, right? So if we land there, if you get anything out of this month, then we've accomplished our goal of freedom, true freedom. Because nothing is what makes sense, right? So let's go to the next slide. We're going to bring it a little bit more down to earth because this is what we're kind of going to be talking about today. So here's the comic. Here's the patient going to the doctor, and the doctor says, I'm afraid neither apples nor prescription laughter is covered by your insurance. And how much does that hit home, right? Right? Those things that we really, truly need for our health and wellness and vibrancy and vitality. A lot of times it's not covered by our insurance. But the good news is laughter is free. Apples, not so much, but we do live in Washington, so there are plenty of apples on the trees. Oh my goodness. So last week we covered that we are a spiritual broadcast stations, right? For y'all that remember, you remember it's been a week, right? So let's bring us back. And we are both a receiver and a broadcaster. So the invitation that I left you with at the end of last week is to pay attention to what you were tuning into and what you were receiving, being mindful of what you were broadcasting. So how was it? How'd you do? How'd you do? Glenn?
I missed last Sunday.
Yes, you did.
However, I must have been tuned in because that's exactly what the theme of this week has been for me. And earlier today, this morning, that's when some of that song and singing was going on and the energy was going on. I was broadcasting it to friends that just going around just thinking of different people and sending that energy.
Lovely.
Had no idea you were going to talk about this.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, Glenn. Sandy.
Well, I'd like to thank Glenn for that because I got a job.
Woohoo!
I didn't put in an application. They just messaged me and said, hey, would you like to come in for an interview? And during the interview, I said, well, let's offer the job. And she's like, oh, no, you're being offered the job.
Sandy, that's phenomenal. For those of you on Zoom, Sandy was offered a job this week. Yes. Right on. So yeah, that spiritual broadcast station, we're tuning into it and we're also broadcasting. Anybody else? How'd that go this week? Eva?
I was listening to the messages that come in, and there was a person that popped in my head, and I contacted them. They said, I was just thinking about you.
Oh, yes, that's how that works. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, Rose.
Well, I was watching some YouTubes, and all of a sudden one showed up on Astaxanthin, and so my husband, who knows all about it, it's a brand new, it's like, I don't know, 100 times stronger than vitamin C. So I said, maybe we can use this for my cat, Luna, who I took
Yes, yes.
She needs to use it because I can't afford the $3,000.
Oh, right.
Guess what? She seems pretty active.
Yes.
Food she didn't eat yesterday.
Yay.
All the astaxanthin. He's talking to 12 doctors today about what dose to give my cat.
Oh my goodness, Rose, that is such good news. And I do remember we put Luna in the prayer circle last week. So, yeah, the supplements and prayer and get you where you want to go, get you there. So congratulations on Luna. I'm so grateful she's feeling better. Yay. Anybody else? So today we are discovering how a new revelation can awaken healing, kind of like what Rose just shared. That was a new revelation. Expand possibility and liberate us from limiting stories, allowing us to become the next grandest expression of spirit throughout our lives as we conclude our month of declaring freedom. I can't remember if I left the picture of the baby in there or not. Is it in there? Can we show the baby? So this is why we're covering this today. And I did have this in the newsletter this week. So the baby's like, you mean to tell me that spoons don't actually sound like airplanes? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because at one time we thought spoons sounded like airplanes, right? I mean, it didn't last for too long, but at one time that was our awareness of spoons. But what happened, right? We gained a different awareness. We learned that spoons don't actually sound like airplanes. There's a moment in time where we have reached a point in time where we've gained a new awareness. And so that means we're not going to expect spoons to sound like airplanes anymore, right? There's this evolution and growth that's constantly taking place. So when I say things like, today, we're discovering how new revelation can awaken healing, expand possibility, liberate us from limiting stories, allowing us to become the next grandest expression of spirit moving through our lives. It doesn't mean you're not currently experiencing the next grandest expression of spirit. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that we are constantly evolving. Like the scale, the consciousness scale that we talked about at the beginning of the month. We are, if we're doing the work in the direction of our dreams and the direction we want to be heading into, if we're doing that work, we are constantly evolving into the next expression of Spirit's grandest idea for ourselves and our lives. And a lot of times that can bring about healing. A lot of times that brings about, oh my gosh, a whole new perspective of this thing. So this thing doesn't cause me pain anymore, or this thing doesn't hold me down or hold me back or feel like a ball and chain or cause me to cry or whatever it is that thing might be doing in your life right now. There is a time where it will no longer have that impact on you. Isn't that wonderful? So we're going to talk about that today. So what if the one thing standing between you and a more joyful, abundant, and meaningful life is the size of... Now, what did you think I was going to say there? It's the size of the idea you're holding about yourself. It's the size of your idea, right? So an author and very prominent leader in the early New Thought movement, Raymond Charles Barker, when he would get confused or get upset or feel like he is running into a wall, he would go into his den and close the door, and he would say, Barker, you need a bigger idea, right? Barker, you need a bigger idea. And then he'd wait because the bigger idea would come. Because what happens when we tell ourselves what we need, when I tell our brain what we need, it's a fast processing. You think AI is big? Our brains are incredibly fast processing stations. When we give it a command, it will work nonstop and usually provides it to us in the middle of the night or in the shower. But that's a side note. But Barker, you need a bigger idea. So in his book, The Power of Decision, he writes that life responds how life responds to us. It corresponds with the decisions that we make. Your life becomes the thing that you have decided it shall be. So think about that for a minute. How have you decided your life shall be in this moment? And if there's anything in your life that you would like it to shall be something else, then we get to decide it shall be something else. This means that every choice you make, especially in your mind, shapes your reality. To live fully, you must decide decisively, cutting off indecision, cutting off doubt, cutting off fear, and align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your highest vision. So Barker teaches that you cannot go beyond your self-accepted image. So you can't ever go beyond how you imagine yourself, the decisions that you've made about yourself. Indecision is the decision to fail. Progress requires courage to let go of the old and embrace the new. Thoughts are seeds. Plant them wisely, and they will grow into your reality. Lower your guilt load. Cannot begin to tell you how important that is. If by any chance you are still anchored by that consciousness level of guilt, do what it takes to lower that guilt load in your life and align with your pure intelligence to free yourself from limiting beliefs. Watch your moods and stop negative patterns that block success. Now, that's very nice, and it's not always so easy, huh? But we're going to talk about that today. So he goes on to say, to create a grand utopia in your mind, you need a clear, positive vision of the future that you want to become. In essence, Barker's bigger idea is that your mind is the master builder of your life. And by making clear, decisive, positive choices, your consciousness toward the life you truly desire, transforming your present into your future that you've decided to create. This is the exact type of revelation that we're talking about this morning. Awareness and awakening that pretty much says, holy cow, there's something more to be had here. And there's something greater that we're looking at. And once that revelation is set within our own mind and our belief system, it becomes the truth. It becomes the reality of your experience. It's a new idea within each one of us. So, the demonstration of health or any good is the result of consciousness of receptivity to health or any good. So I'm going to say that again. The demonstration of any good, but we're talking about health here. Yet we're talking about health here. It is the result of a consciousness of receptivity to that which you desire to experience, either more of or at all. Because some people are like, I just really want to experience health. I just want to be comfortable. I want to be out of pain. I want to heal and reveal whatever this diagnosis is. Whatever that is that you are looking to bring about and demonstrate in your life, we develop that consciousness by directing our thoughts and feelings toward an expectation of good. And that's not always easy, right? Especially if we've experienced trauma in our lives where we're automatically set to be on high alert. And we don't even know it, right? Our bodies and our chemicals in our bodies and our receptor sites in our cells are like on alert. But the best way and the only way to really shift that and change that is to use the power of our mind to expect the good. To expect the good, to expect the good. So, we develop that consciousness by directing our thoughts and feelings toward that expectation of good, and we do so often enough and powerfully enough to bring about that expectation in our subconscious mind as a belief system. So what we come to accept on the subconscious level, we will naturally tend to demonstrate in our life. We do not have to force a change. We don't have to force the world around us to change. We don't have to do any of that. The only thing that we need to do is what? Focus on ourselves. Thank you, Brittany. The only thing we have to do is focus on ourselves. Make sure that everything's all right. Everything's all right in the garden of my mind. Everything's all right in the garden of my soul. Everything's all right in the garden of my heart. And so spirit is the healing energy within each of us that restores and reveals our true wholeness. The Sufi mystic Rumi says, You already have the precious mixture that will make you well. Use it. You can find within yourself that precious mixture of wholeness and health that can restore any imbalances that you might be experiencing. Now, it reminds me of this, and I know I've got it in here somewhere, but that's the perfect time, I think, to bring up my slide on Myrtle Fillmore. So I'm going to get you out of order, sorry. But I love this. Myrtle, Fillmore, co-founder of Unity here, she is feisty. And I tell you what, she knew how to demonstrate in her prayers. Oh, she was an incredible demonstrator with her prayer work. But this is a feisty quote that I kind of like of hers. I put it in the newsletter this week. You do not have a problem except the one that is in your own mind, and you put it there. It's like, whoa! It's like she kind of just puts us right there and reminds us of who's in charge. Who's in charge? Okay, so I'm going to share a little story about Mary Morrissey. Are you all some of you might be familiar with Mary Morrissey's own healing story. If you are, raise your hand so I know kind of who I'm. Okay, so the rest of you, not so much. So I'm going to share a little bit of Mary Morrissey's own healing story, the one that she tells in her curriculum Prosperity Plus Lesson 1. So in 1966, Mary Morrissey had an upbringing that most girls dream about. Now, I want to say that's very subjective. I'm not really sure most girls today would dream about her upbringing, but this is her story, and so this is how I'm going to tell it. She was class vice president, a member of the drill team, had a lead in the junior play, and she was crowned homecoming princess. So that kind of paints a picture. It's the 60s. But all of that was about to change because by the end of her junior year, she became pregnant. So she was therefore kicked out of her high school and told that she would die, literally. So here's her healing story. Mary got pregnant at the end of her junior year in high school, and because she was pregnant, and because it was the 60s, the principal kicked her out of that high school. And she had to go complete her diploma and her high school degree at an evening school that was across town, set up with delinquent boys and other pregnant girls. Mary's baby arrived in December of 1966. She graduated from her alternative high school in May of 1967. 2 months later, she was in the intensive care ward of a local hospital, diagnosed with fatal kidney disease. One kidney was completely destroyed with nephritis, and the other kidney was 50% destroyed with active nephritis. This was before kidney transplants, which meant, under conventional thinking, Mary had just been handed a death sentence. The doctors told Mary, at best, she had 6 months to live. There she was. She was 18 years old, on the verge of death. She was absolutely terrified. And she had a newborn baby that she was pretty sure she was not going to get to see grow up. A woman visited Mary in the intensive care ward who identified herself as a chaplain and asked Mary to share what had been going on in her life. And so Mary told the chaplain her story, at the end of which the chaplain told Mary something that would change her life forever. Mary, everything is created twice, the chaplain began. In fact, you already know this. Everyone knows it. You just don't know the power of knowing it. The bed that you're laying in, the nightgown you're wearing, the sheets covering you, the wall, the ceiling, all this machinery around you, it was first a thought before it could become a thing. The chaplain continued, you know that if you think embarrassing thoughts, your cheeks get red. Does anybody's cheeks do that? When you think about something embarrassing, your cheeks get red. Isn't that something? It's like our bodies tell on ourselves, right? You know, if you think scary thoughts, your heart will race. You guys know that feeling? Or if something scares you? Yeah, like you feel it. Do you know that if you think enough toxic thoughts, that toxicity will reflect itself in your body. Your body is reflecting what has been going on in your mind, which has been emotionalized and charged with a high intensity thought pattern. Now, this is the chaplain talking to Mary in the hospital in intensive care. What if it were the toxic thinking reflected in your body that is now threatening your very life? You feel like you shamed yourself and shamed your school and shamed your family, and you feel rotten about it. You've been rehearsing, nursing, and cursing those ideas for a couple of years, and now your body is sick. Then the chaplain made Mary an offer. Do you believe it's possible that if I can get you mentally aligned with the divine pattern of the universe, that you could have a complete healing and not need surgery, and in the morning the doctors would tell you you were fine, you can get up, put on your clothes, and go home? Mary told the truth. She said, no, I don't think that's going to happen for me. The chaplain countered, well, could you believe that we could say a prayer that would sweep all of the toxicity in your body into that one bad kidney? And then when the doctors remove it tomorrow, all the toxicity in your body will be removed with it. Mary said, I don't know, but maybe that's possible. That is all we need, the chaplain said. One corner of your mind open to the possibility. Then the chaplain asked Mary to close her eyes, and she said a prayer over Mary and then left. The next day, the doctors removed Mary's right kidney, which was completely destroyed, and said that her left kidney didn't look as bad as they originally thought it did. But only time would tell. In the next few weeks, Mary miraculously got better and better until she was completely healed. This caught Mary's attention in a very big way. At 18 years old, Mary became a thirsty sponge for anything and everything that she could study on: metaphysics, the laws of the universe, new thought, and psychology. Wisdom in crisis can change your trajectory, even when the medical odds are against you. Openness to new perspectives can unlock hidden possibilities. And self-reflection can reveal unconscious beliefs that are holding you back. Most of your suffering, this is the abundance alchemist that says this, most of your suffering isn't the thing that happened, it's the version of you that refuses to let it be over. So I'm going to say that again. Most of your suffering isn't the thing that happened. It's the version of you that refuses to let it be over. So we go to Myrtle's saying again here, you do not have a problem except for the one that's in your own mind, and you put it there. So that reminds me of a parable and a story in the Bible. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. Now, this Bible quote is not about condemning wealth. Many people think it is, but it's not. Jesus taught us in parables. They are meant to be unpacked, no pun intended. They're meant to be unpacked to discover the deeper meaning that is below the surface. And the eye of the needle that Jesus spoke about here was a narrow gateway into Jerusalem, one where you had to empty your camel of all of its packs to enter its opening. Thus, if we hold on to our baggage, if we cling to self-imposed structures that we think keep us comfortable, therefore we think it keeps us happy, but it really doesn't, we will not make it through the eye. Permanent happiness and riches based on earthly acquiring is a myth. Human life comes with vulnerabilities. It comes with grief. It comes with discontent and pain. And there's a reason for that. We're going to talk about that next month. However, attempting to escape these natural and transformative ways of living create impediments that weigh us down. So you see, when we're trying to run away from the pain or run away from the grief or run away from whatever it is that makes us feel uncomfortable in this moment, we're actually robbing ourselves of the transformational wisdom that comes from those things, because life isn't about being comfortable all the time and roses and honey and all of that saying. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You see, we're always rising up in that consciousness level of what we have and know about ourselves and in our life. And the best way to do that is to come into the know. Remember, I had said about what wisdom does. Wisdom provides that wisdom in crisis can change our trajectory of life. And so being human comes with those vulnerabilities. It comes with all of that stuff. The kingdom of heaven is at hand right here and right now. We do not have to physically die to go through that gateway. Yet, to go through the eye while living, we must die to what is not real, or what is not real any longer. Doesn't mean that the thing didn't happen to us. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It doesn't mean that we don't grieve. It just means that in this moment, do you want it to any longer have a hold over your life? Do you want it to create disease in your body? Do you want it to keep you from manifesting or demonstrating the next great, wonderful dream that you may be holding for yourself? That's the question. Let's go to the next slide, please. So you're transforming old patterns of your mind and letting go of thoughts that you don't need to have around any longer. And for those that follow this, I know there's some in the room that do and some that don't, but I am going to speak it out loud because it happens to be happening this week, and we have a buck full moon this week. Did I put a slide? Yeah, I thought I did. So the buck full moon invites you to release what no longer aligns with your highest path. Let go of old fears, limiting beliefs, and emotional weight that you might have been carrying. Is anybody carrying any, and you don't have to raise your hand, but anybody out there that might be carrying any old fears, limiting beliefs, or emotional weight? Guess what? We have a full moon on July the 29th, and this particular full moon is inviting us to surrender all that, to let it go. Forgiveness and surrender will create space for peace and clarity. Trust that what leaves your life now is making room for something better. Right? And how cool is it that the daily word for today was forgiveness? It's like all of this is connected, right? It's all connected. So belief in your own power, even when circumstances seem impossible, can lead to healing and transformation. Let's go to the next slide. Thank you. With every story we create comes a set of thoughts that manifest different experiences. We get to let go of our old story and write a new story. How cool is that? What would your story be like? What would it look like? What would it taste like? What would it smell like? What would it sound like? What's your story? I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to experience it. Mary's story shows that we are stronger than the circumstances, and that by embracing a new mindset, we can turn hardship into a foundation for a life of purpose, joy, and abundance. Next slide, please. Here's what we talked about a little earlier, though. You cannot attract to you anything that you don't have the power to visualize. It's kind of like what Barker said. You can't experience any other different version of you that you can't believe in yourself, that you can't see in yourself. So visualization is super powerful and super important. So I'm going to share 4 quick ways to utilize visualization in your life, kind of give you a little bit of a blueprint of when you leave here today, you can go and apply some of this week and kind of play around with it if you don't already. Creative visualization. Number 1, you want to set your goal. Decide on something you'd like to have, that you'd like to work toward, realize, or create. It can be on any level. Any level. A job, a house, a relationship, a change in yourself, increased prosperity, a happier state of mind, improved health, beauty, a better physical condition, solving a problem in your family or community, whatever it is, pick a goal. At first, choose goals that seem fairly easy for you to believe in. Now, there's a reason why. It's kind of like training wheels on your bicycle. That way, you won't have to deal with too much negative resistance in yourself. And you can maximize your feelings of success as you learn creative visualization. Later, when you've got more practice, you can take on more difficult and challenging problems or issues. Number 2, create a clear idea or picture. Create an idea, a mental picture, or a feeling of the object or situation exactly as you want it. Now, I know some of you pretty well. I have heard you say some of the things that you'd like to have in your life or you'd like to have more of in your life. This is the time. Create that image, create that feeling of what it would feel like knowing that you have it, knowing that you're experiencing it. Imagine yourself in the situation as you desire it right now and include as many details as you possibly can. You may wish to make an actual physical picture of it. Okay, now I'm going to tell a really quick story that's pretty hilarious around why you want to be as detailed as you possibly can. Have I told you the story about my beloved husband's cheese head? Have I told you that story? So Tony used to work for the Science Mind magazine, and they sent him to a conference every year. And in this conference, there were all these vendors, and every one of them, almost every one of them, was giving away iPads. And you know, the little fish bowl where you drop your business card in when you go to conferences, and then they do drawings and they draw out your business card, and yay, you win an iPad. So he dropped his business cards on all of the tables, and he really wanted an iPad. And they did drawings throughout the whole weekend, right? And so the first drawing was happening, and he just kept saying, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. And lo and behold, they said his name. And do you know what he won? He won a cheesehead. Now, my husband is a diehard Broncos fan. He lives, eats, breathes Broncos. And if he's not doing anything at the moment, he is watching a video of an old Broncos game because he is that much of a fan. So him winning a cheesehead was not exactly what he was looking to win, if you know what I mean. So then there's the next year. He goes to the conference. He puts his business cards in. The vendors are all giving away iPads, most of them. And they do the drawings, and he's like, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. They said his name, and guess what he won? Another cheesehead! So are you getting it? Why it's so important to be specific.
What's a cheesehead?
Oh, a cheesehead. A cheesehead is this fake foam piece of cheese that the Green Bay Packer fans wear on their heads during football games. It's really disgusting. It even feels disgusting. It's gross. But yeah, if you're a Broncos fan, you don't want to be having a cheesehead. So yeah. So the big thing is to be specific and to be as detailed as you want for that which you are visualizing and bringing into your life. It's not just about saying his name. He wanted an iPad, right? So there's a great example of how that works. Focus on it often. Number 3, bring your idea or mental picture to mind often, both in quiet meditation and also casually throughout the day when you happen to think of it. In this way, it becomes an integrated part of your life, and it becomes more of a reality for you. Focus on it clearly, yet in a light, relaxed way. Because you know, if you get all tense and anxious about it, you're like, I gotta have it, I gotta have it, I gotta have it. You're kind of pushing it away, right? It's kind of pushing that away. So the importance is not to feel like you're striving too hard for it or putting an excessive amount of energy into it. That tends to rather hinder it coming our way. And number 4, give it positive energy. As you focus on your goal, think about it in a positive, encouraging way. Make strong, positive statements to yourself that it exists, that it has come or is now coming to you. See yourself receiving or achieving it. Because, folks, it's not always about things either. There might be something that you're looking to achieve, demonstrate, celebrate, something in your life. These positive statements are called affirmations, and while you use these affirmations, try to temporarily suspend any doubts or any disbeliefs you may have, at least for the moment. Because like I told somebody this week that said, I'm starting to get a little discouraged. I'm doing all these things. I'm getting discouraged. I'm like, this is when you've got to trust. You got to have faith. Don't dig up that seed. You see, we plant the seed, and if you dig it up too soon, it's not going to sprout. It's not going to bloom. It's not going to provide fruit. We can't dig it up. The best thing we can do is have trust and faith that that sucker is going to take that water and going to take that sunlight, and it's going to bloom and provide fruit at some point in time, right? I am believing and I am trusting, let me tell you. So, where was I? I get off track because I get to preaching. So give yourself some okay, yeah. So this is what happens too. You want to temporarily suspend those doubts and disbeliefs. Continue to work the process until you achieve your goal. It's not one and done. You continue that process until you demonstrate, until you achieve your goal. And when you've achieved your goal, be sure to acknowledge consciously to yourself that it has been completed. That's a part of life. Don't get so caught up in going to the next thing and the next thing that you don't stop and celebrate the fact that you've just achieved something pretty wonderful and something that you really wanted. So give yourself some appreciation and a pat on the back, and be sure to thank the universe for fulfilling your requests. The creation process, that's the creation process. And it is that wonderful action that takes place in all of us when we think and form new ideas, say for tonight's dinner menu, or a class project, or the idea of revealing our perfect health in spite of a diagnosis or an illness, or how you may be feeling in the moment. This is creation, something from nothing, but really it's not from nothing, because remember the chaplain told Mary, everything's created twice. It starts out as an idea, and then it becomes form, right? So from the teachings of Dr. Ernest Holmes, he says, be open at the top. I understand this to mean that we must always be learning and being aware of life as it is expressing through and around us. We must be open to the idea that as a child of God, we do not inherit disease or a sense of separation. This means that we must be open and receptive to that creative ability that's in all of us and allow this wonderful thing to take place through us. We must prove it for ourselves. So the next time life pushes you into a corner, the next time you might feel small or discouraged or stuck in an old narrative, I want you to mentally walk into your own quiet room, close the door, take a deep breath, and say, Julie, I need a bigger idea. But I invite you to use your own name and not my name. So let's step through the eye of the needle together. Let's drop the old baggage, release the toxic stories, and claim the wholeness that has been ours all along. And so it is. Thank you.